Thanks for joining us today. This is good.
Great crowd.
This is a great crowd. All right. We're gonna let the chorus go, and then we're gonna.
Okay.
Such a quick exit on the song. All right. Well, I want to thank you guys so much for joining us today. I'm Lindsay Litton, and we have a very special guest today, my friend Lauren Duke. Lauren's going to be talking to us about an incredibly helpful topic. We were just talking before we jumped on this mastermind. She was like, hey, your last guest had 100. How many did we get? And I was like, we got 40. And she was like, ops is never sexy, but it is the thing that drives your business forward. So I'm so glad that you guys took the time to be with us today, because we're going to be talking about something very sexy, and that is how to get your admin to add to your bottom line, how to hire your first admin, and maybe Lauren can give us some tips on things to avoid when it comes to leading our first employee. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm Lindsay Litton. I got into the business in 2014. I grew a team in San Antonio, Texas, was doing 120 transactions before we moved to Colorado. Decided rather than launching a team, I launched an online referral network. Over the years, I grew that to 100 million in closed referrals and have since transitioned into coaching and helping others align with their professional goals and personal dreams. I'm excited to announce our guest speaker, which is Lauren Duke. Lauren and I met at my ladies retreat last October on a beautiful beach in Cancun, Mexico, and we became instant collaborators. Lauren is the former coup of a top 10 real estate team where she managed 3,000 plus transactions and has trained over 150 agents across the country. Lauren, super excited for you to be joining us today.
Thank you so much, Lindsay. I'm very, very, very excited.
Well, this is a true mastermind, so let me lay a couple ground rules. We want to use the chat as an interactive forum. So I'm going to be emceeing things here, but she's got a PowerPoint presentation. She's going to walk us through some things. Post your questions in the chat so I can tee those up. I'll stop Lauren here and there so that we can get your questions answered. And then we're going to leave a little bit of space at the end for any questions that you might have today. So, Lauren, it's your show. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Very, very, very excited. I love a slideshow. So I'm going to share my screen now. Yep. Good. Okay. Can everyone see that? Are we good? Okay. Okay. So my name is Lauren Duke, like Lindsay so kindly said. And we're going to start this off with a nice little freebie here that we will tie in eventually. You will see why. But having your admin start a 12-month client engagement calendar for you if you would like to grab it. So how many of you, and put this in the chat, how many of you have asked yourself, how can I afford an admin? And maybe it feels like hiring one is a luxury. Maybe it feels like you are an admin and you have no idea how you're gonna afford another one of you, right? Here's the truth. Your admin is your business's biggest untapped resource, okay? They do not have to be a cost center. They can be one of the most profitable investments that you make in your business. And like Lindsay said, this is definitely mastermind style. So if you have hired an admin in the past, feel free to chime in on what has worked for you, what didn't work, all of the things, right? I have hired quite a few admin in my time. A couple of them are on here right now, and they can attest that probably in my time being the coup, I think we went through maybe like 40, 50 admin hires. And I made every mistake possible. So I'm going to share those today with you. Okay, so like I said, your admin team is your business's biggest untapped resource. And if you're anything like the agents that I've worked with in the past, you're probably juggling like, I don't know, 200 things at once. Closing the deals, managing the clients, doing all the marketing, trying to breathe, the whole 9 yards, right? It's a lot. And if you are not careful, the admin that you hired to help lighten the load of everything can eventually end up feeling like just another thing to manage, right? But when you reframe your mindset on it, that your admin does not have to just be a helper, but they can be the strategic partner who directly impacts your bottom line. And they do more than just keeping things running, right? They help your business grow. They help things thrive and scale and all of that. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So we're not going to go through, how to delegate or how to have someone manage the paperwork or, do all of that, because you already know that that's important. If you have talked to Lindsay for even 30 seconds, she has told you the importance of leverage. So this is going to be about building a partnership where your admin doesn't just save you time, but they actually make you money as well. And in doing that, we're going to first start off with building your referral network. Okay. One of the most powerful ways that your admin can move from being an expense to a revenue generator is by building and nurturing your referral network. I have talked to so many agents, even just in the last 5 weeks of, this year, that their biggest goal for 2025 is to bring in more agent to agent referrals. And how are you going to do that? If you want to expand your business, if you want to bring in that consistency, right? How are you going to do that without spending all day shaking the hands and sending the text messages and finding those people, right? The trick is empowering your admin to work as an extension of you by building relationships and maintaining connections and keeping you top of mind. Okay, so you want to think of your admin literally as a clone. Sorry, yes.
I was just going to ask the question in the chat. Can you guys post whose main focus this year is building their agent to agent referral database? Does anybody have that on their business plan or personal growth for their business this year? Put it in the chat. Yes, Heather. Okay, pop it in the chat. As somebody that built a massive referral network, I'm like, it's such an untapped resource. Focus on that. It's amazing.
Truly, truly,
Okay.
truly. And when you have an admin that is trained and empowered properly, they can help show up in those right spaces with your voice, with your knowledge, your value, your everything to strengthen your brand and expand your reach. Okay. So one of the first ways, mastering your voice. You want to spend time teaching them how you communicate and so that they can sound like you, right? So sharing examples of your tone, your vocabulary, the way that you would approach specific conversations, like, are you more of a casual, would you leave a comment on a Facebook page in more of like a casual manner? Or are you polished and professional and don't use emojis or LOL or, ha 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 ha, right? Your admin needs to understand your style so that they can seamlessly represent you. And I'll talk about the Core Apps community a little bit more later, but we actually have a resource in there that is ChatGPT prompts to help you communicate better as your CEO and with your CEO. And it's perfect for your admin to learn literally how to talk like you. Okay.
Laura, you're going to laugh at this, but when I built the referral network, I had a 12-page PDF and it was how to talk like Lindsay 101.
My gosh. 12 pages.
Yeah.
Wow.
I use a lot of friendly language.
I feel like mine's probably just one, and it's like super witty, sarcastic, and then make sure you follow up saying I was being sarcastic. So the second one is going to be strategic engagement. So having them go in on those online communities where your ideal referral partners are hanging out. So those Facebook groups that we all join and then we forget about after a couple days, right? The LinkedIn has a ton of communities as well, even like local business associations, whatever. Oh, I didn't know if someone was asking a question. Sorry. But their role there isn't to sell, right? But just genuinely connect with other people. So answering questions, sharing valuable tips, building those relationships that naturally lead back to you. And then the third one is consistent follow-up. So we all know that relationships are built on follow-up, right? And your admin can go and take that over and handle it like a pro. They can be the one sending the thank you notes and checking in and remembering the birthdays and the milestones and the whole 9 yards. So building a referral database. Now for your admin to truly take charge of the referral network, they're going to need a system. I love a system. It does not have to be fancy. A Google Sheet, a simple CRM can do the trick, okay? But they need to track who's who. So just having a list of those referral partners, promising connections, vendors, whoever it may be, names, contact info, how you met, personal notes, all of that. And then tracking what referrals have been sent and received. So you can see who's actively contributing to your business and who might need a little bit of a nudge. And then scheduling those follow-ups. So have your admin set reminders for quarterly check-ins and updates, holiday greetings, all of that. And here's my shameless plug that the Real Estate Business Hub has this kind of tracking done for you already because we love a Google Sheet. And we'll talk more about that in a little bit as well. But so here's a quick example. Let's say your admin's annual salary is $50,000. If your average gross commission per referral, and when I say in this scenario, referral can be inbound, outbound, past client referral, sphere referral, anything, right? Okay. So if your admin's annual salary is $50,000 and your average GCI is 5,000, your admin needs to generate 10 referrals per year to cover their own salary, literally less than one a month. If they were to be doubling all of the past client touches, referral touches, reaching out to your sphere, if you were to be doubling all of that, there's no way that you wouldn't get 10 referrals. Okay. And I want to stop and brag for a second because at the end of last year, I got a text from someone who used to work for me and someone who has been just an absolute dream DOO. Okay. So she sent me this text and I was like the proudest mama bear possible. She's saying that the other 3 admin, herself included, have been beyond profitable. They did a bunch of folders, picked up 2 listings in 3 days, turned them into signed agreements. Our pipeline for the beginning of the year is 20 plus. Referrals this month covered 75% of payroll. Wild when you have the right people. And it is. This team, there's like 4 or 5 admin on this team. So to cover 75% of payroll, just from reaching out to people, wild. So just wanted to show that it really does work. and why this
Lauren?
matters. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sure you're going to get to this, but I want to point it out. You as a leader have to be intentional about setting this goal for your admin, because your admin aren't going to just inherently roll in and be like, hey, I want to generate 10 referrals
Yeah.
this year. So you've got to level up as a leader to say, hey, we're going to make this part of your growth plan, part of your daily activity, so that you're intentionally moving the needle. Because I think that's a key point folks need to hear, is that if you're not intentional about putting this into your business, it's not going to happen. And your admin team aren't going to roll in and just be like, hey, Linz, I closed 10 referrals. It's got to come from the leader.
I also want to point out that the person who sent me this screenshot, their CEO is on this call right now, which is so funny to me. So she
I
can
love
attest
that.
that it does work. But so empowering your admin to own this part of your business doesn't just free you up, it creates a steady stream of revenue through authentic, well-maintained relationships, right? With the right tools, with the right guidance, with you pushing them, with you setting that expectation, your admin can become that referral machine that makes your business not just stable, but scalable. Okay. So now I want you to think about one person in your referral network who might need a little extra love. And what is something that your admin or your future admin, if you don't have one right now, what is something that they can do to reconnect with them? Put it in the chat if you have any ideas, whether it's sending like a handwritten note card or just a Facebook message.
Hey, Lauren,
So now,
we've got a related question in the chat, so I'll pop this in while folks are adding their comments in the chat. But the question was, what is the number one action your VA can do to produce referrals? I've got ideas, but I'm curious what your ideas are.
I mean, genuinely like creating that follow-up plan is my biggest one. Like creating the list of people that are, you know, your VIP referral partners and loving on them and making sure that you are staying top of mind with them, whether that's through, you know, personal messages or the note cards. My love language is giving gifts. So I love writing a handwritten note card with like a $10 gift card in it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
On
my
the,
number one.
my thought is on the lead gen side, like how many people here go to conferences and get a stack of business cards like that, and then they do nothing with them? Like every time you get, look at Jessica. Jessica's like, oh, hello. And then if you want the real gangster OG tip, every time you go to a conference, you set a goal of how many agents you're going to add into your database. In my opinion, if you're not going to a conference and you don't have a minimum of 25 agents that you're adding into the database, you're missing out on a huge opportunity. So your job as the agent is to go out, get those contacts, bring it back home and say, hey, admin, good news. We got 25 new partners we can add into the database where you can love on them, send out your cards, do all your things. But you should be thinking about, how do you create those opportunities for your admin?
I'm going to cover this in a little bit as well, but another way is by empowering your admin to create their own networks and their own databases, having them get plugged into masterminds like these. So actually, if you are ops, let us know in the chat, because we all should connect, you know? I know that when I was in my previous position, it was almost like we wanted to keep all of our secrets to ourselves. And so networking for admin wasn't really a thing. But it's so important. It's so important because as soon as I was like, we joke around and we say it was like, oh, we were all let out of our rooms. As soon as like we started networking and meeting other people, that is when everybody just started expanding so much more, because we were seeing other points of views and all of that. So empowering them to have their own network as well. And then expense management, because this is a huge thing that agents just literally don't want to think about or talk about or anything, right? But this is where your admin can absolutely shine as like a behind the scenes magician. Um, your admin can help find and eliminate the wasteful spending and streamline the tools that you're already using and make sure that every single dollar is working as hard as possible for your business. So, cutting the fat, right? Auditing all of your subscriptions and tools and services. Because I bet that if we were to peek into your expense sheet right now, if you have one, there's probably something on there that you forgot you were even paying for. I was paying for a $29 a month social media tool for like a year that I had no idea about. So you're not alone if you're guilty of this, but having your admin create an expense inventory, right? So list out all of those tools, software, subscriptions, the whole 9 yards. I know a place where you could put them, right, Lindsay? The real estate business hub.
Well, let me also say this. Like as Lauren was talking about it, I just kept thinking like as a business leader, what an extra level of accountability to have your admin going through your expenses every single month, because I coach a lot of high producing agents around the country that don't have that. And so they might be making $500,000 to $1 million a year. But if you have, I call it the leaky bucket. If you've got a bucket with a hole in it, you're always having to fill up the bucket, right? Your admin can help you plug some of those holes by being an extra level of accountability on your expenses. And you can save a ton of money cutting out those silly little subscriptions. What I love to do is I love to print out my bank account every single month, highlight all the little things that I'm going to cut out, times it by 12, and then I'm like, I just saved $25,000 a year. Your admin can do that for you and be an extra level of accountability and making sure that you're being a good steward of the finances as well.
Yeah, and it's not like agents don't love going through and seeing like, oh, we have, 12 different subscriptions that we're paying for, but they're all different. Like they all do something different, right? When it comes down to it, 6 of them might actually do the same thing. You're just not noticing that, you know, this, for example, you might be paying for like Calendly or something like that, when if it's not exactly in your budget right now, you probably could use the free scheduler through Google Calendar, So I know Calendly is not very expensive monthly, but it's the example that's coming to mind right now. So that's the one we're running with. So leading me into my next point, looking for overlaps, right? If your brokerage offers a CRM, take advantage of it. And scheduling tools, email platforms, like all of the shiny new apps that you don't really use, right? Look for those overlaps and check the usage, because if you're not using it weekly or monthly, it's probably time to nix it. So you can absolutely save big without sacrificing quality, because Google Workspace has an entire suite of it can replace an entire suite of paid platforms, right? You've got Google Calendar, you've got Google Docs, you've got Sheets, and Google like Site can replace. I was talking to someone, they have a whole like intranet for their team, and they pay $1,000 a year to have it on this intranet platform. And I was like, oh, you could just make that through Google Site for free, because you already, well, not for free, but you're already paying for it within your workspace. So streamline smarter, right? That extra $100 a month or whatever it is that you're saving could go towards something that's actually growing your business, like marketing or client gifts or I don't know, like an ops bonus or something. So just find the places where you can streamline. And then limiting the bells and whistles. A lot of times we think we need the premier, advanced, deluxe, pro, platinum, whatever plan. But sometimes the free one gets the job done. I know that like the free version of an email marketing system, you just have to have the MailChimp logo at the bottom. Is that worth it to you to pay like $40 a month, or can you use the free version? So going through and downgrading to what you actually are going to use. And then negotiating discounts. If you love your CRM and you don't want to switch, have your admin reach out, ask and see like, hey, we're thinking about canceling. 9 times out of 10, they're going to be like, oh, no, please don't go. We'll give you 20% off for the next year or whatever. I mean, worst case, they say no. Best case, you get a lower bill. A story time, super quick. One of my one-on-one coaching clients, she was the operations manager for a small team. And when she first onboarded with them, she was able to cut about $3,500 per month in unnecessary spending. And you might think that I'm exaggerating, but I am absolutely not. They were paying for like 2 CRMs that they didn't use. They were paying for a website hosting that was outrageous, and they weren't using the excessive plan and all of that. So it is absolutely possible.
And if anybody wants the quick math, that's $42,000 a year.
Whew.
There you go.
That's a salary in itself, you know? So, it's not enough to just simply save the money, right? You need to track where it's going. You need to track how it's working for you, whether or not it is providing the ROI, a return on investment. And this is where your admin becomes crucial, because they can set up and maintain a simple system to track that income, track your expenses, track your profitability, so you can see the bigger financial picture. The golden rule is that you should aim for a 4 times ROI on every system, tool, strategy, whatever it is that you're implementing, averaged over the year. If it is not delivering at least 4 times the value that you are investing, you got to reevaluate. Okay. And once again, Google Sheets for the win, right? It's all you need in order to track this. So what should those expense categories be? We've got payroll related expenses, lead gen and marketing, technology and tools, office and administrative costs, education and training, professional services, transportation and travel, client and team entertainment, insurance and licensing dues, and miscellaneous. Okay, so on that spreadsheet, right, add a column that's calculating the revenue directly tied to each of these expenses. So if you're spending $500 a month on your CRM, is it hitting the 4 times return threshold? If not, no, gotta go, right? So why does this matter? When your admin tracks expenses, tracks your income, ROI, you have that clear picture of where your business is thriving and, like Lindsay said, where you have a leaky bucket. So it's not just sticking to a budget, but it's truly ensuring that every dollar you spend is actively working toward growing your bottom line. So if your admin helps you save $500 a month in unnecessary expenses, that's $6,000 a year that could go somewhere else. Okay. So now I want to ask, what is one tool or subscription or membership or whatever it is that you know you're paying for, but you don't really use? Because I'm going to challenge you to cancel it this week and reinvest that money into something that is going to grow your business, that you will use.
Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat.
Put it in the chat.
And just so that everybody's aware, I don't know if I mentioned this, we are recording today's session. It will go out as a replay. So in case you're worried about fiercely taking notes, fiercely take notes, but also realize the recording will go out later. So Vanita, is it possible to effectively use a virtual assistant as an admin? Ooh, that's a good one.
Our virtual assistant, meaning like one overseas?
Ooh, yeah, let's ask. Yes.
Okay.
Lauren and I have feelings on this one.
So, yes, and I have run into a couple, literally two people that I know of that can work effectively with a VA. And I believe that that is because they had the highest of expectations and standards set up prior to them coming on.
Can I also jump in there, Lauren? Because I have some additional thoughts on our feelings.
Yes, please.
Okay, so I think it's really important to understand you as a person and your natural behaviors. I think that's more so what you really need to understand. So I use a DISC assessment with my coaching clients so that we can understand what their natural leadership behavior is like. Because my behavior, Jessica, I'm going to pick on Jessica from the Pena team here. My behavior is very different than Jessica's. And so I've in the past run into issues working with folks overseas in a VA capacity, yet have had tremendous success working with VAs here in the US. And what I've come to realize is that it is just Lindsay's lack of setting up the proper systems that an overseas non-native speaking English person would need to be successful in their roles. So now I'm just consciously aware of that, and I have tremendous success working with VAs, just not in the capacity that, some other folks do. But Jessica, on the other hand, does work extremely successful with a VA overseas because Jessica's natural behavior is to set it up so there's checklists and X, Y, and Z is all outlined and they're ready to go. But I think it's really important too to understand your unique behavior and leadership style, and to say something could be successful or not successful might really depend on the person.
Yes, and I also want to point out, like, if you're going to have them act as an extension of you, there already is that communication barrier to begin with. And so if I were wanting to talk like Lindsay, that would be a lot easier for me to do because I know Lindsay's language. It's my first language, So that's that. I always tread carefully answering that question.
Well, it's such a hard question because again, like I think there's people that use it highly.
Yeah.
Greg Carlson is a great example.
He's one of them.
He's
one of the two I'm talking about.
It's like, Greg, teach me your ways. How is this working? But I really do think it's because Greg is a highly detailed, highly organized, has his SOPs. Benita, you alluded to this in the chat. You really do have to have the systems put in place for that to be successful.
Yeah.
Kelsey, you got your hand raised, girl. What's up? You want to come
Kelsey?
Hi. I was just gonna say too, like I 100% agree, but I was gonna say too, not only like your physical language, but like Lauren said a minute ago, like what's your love language? If your love language is words of affirmation, like please tell them good job. Like please let them know that you are appreciative. Otherwise, like then yeah, they're just a VA who's far away. And then yeah, I think the connection just naturally gets lost if you don't know how they connect on a more spiritual level as well.
Kelsey, do you have a virtual assistant overseas?
I have in the past, and it's also not for me. And I think I understand that about myself. Like I need that in-person connection. But that's just me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh. Go ahead, Lauren.
No. I was actually just gonna say my whole team is not in my area, but they are in the States, and here you are talking. So
Well, I was just thinking very similarly to this. I was looking at Jessica's where she, cut all those systems in and saved $6,000 in a year. I think just as knowing how you communicate with other people also is your team picking up the tools and using it. So, for example, you're using like a data tracker of some sort. I think she mentioned like Clarity Now or Sisu or something along those lines. If your team isn't picking up and using it, then it's kind of like that same thing that we're still, it's that usage piece. And so it's kind of the same thing that when I hear you guys talk about, hey, this isn't for me, or this isn't for my team, or I, did everything I could to make, show the value for my agents to use this, but they didn't. I mean, I think all of those kind of come together, and you have to really know who you are, what you can do, what you can leverage, as Lindsay's favorite word. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
Lindsay just likes to be lazy.
Now,
I'll just
let's
keep
talk
with the
about
L's.
client nurturing. No, why is that playing? Okay, sorry if you heard that. You're not supposed to. I was making this into a recording for a Women in Real Estate Summit, and I just deleted all the videos right before we got on here, and I missed one. Okay, so another thing that your admin can do is client nurturing. And they can go through, all of the things where you're like, oh my gosh, I want to implement a monthly newsletter, and I want to implement all of these really great ideas to stay top of mind with people. Guess who can actually do it? Your admin. So going through, and this is where that 12-month client touch plan comes into play, because you can have something set up for them already, at least the general idea of what you're wanting, right? So those monthly check-ins, those market updates, the holiday greetings, right? The whole 9 yards. And yeah. Also client appreciation events. I am going to pick on Brittany Sims for a second, because Brittany Sims has a director of operations who lives like 2 states away, but planned a client appreciation event that not only did she get all but $64 covered of it, but they hosted 480 something people for an Easter egg hunt.
We had 580 sign up and 526 showed up.
If only that could have happened on this mastermind, Lindsay. Right?
No big deal. No big deal, Brittany. How much of
big
that
deal.
did your admin team pull off?
What was that?
How much of that was your admin team's effort?
All of them.
I hope that was the answer. I was like, please tell me you just showed up, looked pretty, and kissed some babies.
Literally, they asked me, is this good? I gave them a thumbs up, and then I showed up. That was it.
Love it.
And then they did the follow-up that brought in 26 deals last year.
But also, you left that event with 4 listings.
Yes. Yep. We got 26 closes off of that event.
And that was because you expressed your vision for what you wanted the event to look like, for what you needed to walk away with in order to make it successful. And then you empowered them to take it from there. Now, is your director of operations, could she probably have her own event planning company? Yes, she probably could, because she's fabulous. But also, things outside of that, like you need to empower your admin to think outside the box for things, right? A lot of times you get told no, and you're not pivoting and figuring out, okay, but how are we going to make this a yes? How are we going to make it successful so that your vision for what you want the event to be goes through, right? So getting your vision out for what you want these events to look like. Like, are they public events? Are they for your client and SOI only? Are they holiday themed, right? Or are you going to have branded items or a giveaway? And then allow them to take it from there. Allow them to figure out what check-in's going to look like, and how invitations are going to be sent, and how people are registering, right? If you get your vision out and you are clear about it, empowering them to take it from there, because that's how they're going to learn, and that's how they're going to be on Bree Marshall's level of event planning. Which Bree used to plan events for the team that I was on as well, and I would, even as the coup, just show up to the event with the Amazon boxes that came to my house the week before. I wouldn't even open them to make sure it was the right stuff. I just showed up. It was so nice.
Well, I think you point out something really important here, Lauren, which is as the leader of the business, you have to be able to articulate your vision. And I want to compound that with everything you do in your business should have a 3x to 4x return. So obviously, Brittany's event had an amazing return, yet I know a lot of agents do events and they don't have a return. So you need to make sure not only are you communicating the vision, there needs to be, you got to be asking for the business too.
Yep. Yeah, I know people who have planned events where they like rented out the whole movie theater and only a couple people came,
We had that happen. To be fair, we did have that happen. Even with my amazing team and things like that, we did it with bowling last year during the summer, and it was timing. So it would just, even with perfect stuff can happen with that.
Well, yeah, and that goes with trial and error,
Right.
too, like you just said, timing.
Timing.
Probably couldn't control whatever was happening at the time. Right. So why does this all matter? Because nurturing is one of the easiest ways to generate repeat and referral business. And your admin's efforts in this area create goodwill, build trust, and remind people that you are not just a real estate agent, but you are a resource for life. And now I want you to think about the one client you've been meaning to check in with. Maybe it's someone who's just closed, someone who is celebrating some type of milestone, someone you haven't spoken with in a while. Write their name down, choose something that you or your admin can do to reconnect, whether that is, the text, card, quick phone call, whatever. I'm scared to go to the next slide because I don't know if I deleted the video from it. We'll find out. Okay. All right. So let's get into something that, in my opinion, does not always get the spotlight that it deserves, and that is career development for your admin. Because when you invest in your admin's growth, you are actually building a stronger, more profitable business for yourself. Your admin is not just there to check boxes or, shuffle the paperwork, right? They have the potential to truly step into a strategic role that drives innovation and can manage your team and directly contribute to the bottom line. And that all starts with giving them the tools and the trust and the opportunities to grow. Okay. So just invest in their career development, right? So how you can empower your admin. You do not have to build a massive development plan overnight. Start small, identify ways to support your admin's growth in a way that aligns with not only their strengths, but your interests, their interests, and where the business is going. Okay. So having them take online courses or attend workshops like this one and learn how they can, improve systems and marketing and communication, even just communication between the two of you. The two of you go on, do a course on how to communicate better, right? And pay for it because it's an investment in the both of you, okay? So the Core Ops community, Core Ops Collective is the company that I own, and the Core Ops community has courses built into it. We've got the DOO Bootcamp, we've got weekly masterminds, we've got focused power hours for accountability, webinars, all of it. I promise that they will learn something. And then give ownership of projects. So give a specific initiative to lead, like the events, right? Or streamlining a system. Having them take the reins, trusting them to make decisions, encouraging them to bring their ideas to the table, knowing that they have the freedom to improve the system, improve whatever it is, and create something even better. When anyone, but specifically your admin, feels empowered to share feedback and take ownership, it's going to foster greater engagement and accountability, which are two key drivers of success. And this concept aligns with change theory, which emphasizes that individuals are more likely to embrace and implement changes when they feel involved in the process. And so having them, having that participation in it, it helps unfreeze resistance to change. And so you're going to have smoother implementation and stronger outcomes from all of it. So also, like Kelsey mentioned, feedback and recognition, right? You want to take time to celebrate their wins, whether that is just like a successful referral campaign, or they improved a system, or just had like a great client interaction, right? A little recognition goes such a long way. And you want to make it meaningful and tailored to the individual, because I literally have it written on my little notes that I'm following right now: understanding their love language. It takes your feedback from good to unforgettable. Whether they're a words of affirmations person, whatever it is, just making sure that you understand how they are going to feel truly seen and appreciated, because it's not always just about like high five saying good job, but it is truly communicating that you're saying, I see the value that you bring here, and I couldn't do this without you. I actually had someone quit because she said she didn't feel as though the value that she brought to the company was noticed. And that was probably like the lowest point in all of the mistakes I made in my previous position that sucked really bad. So making sure that you communicate that. And then networking opportunities, right? Connecting with other ops professionals, connecting with their own referral network so that they can share ideas and gain insights that are going to directly benefit the business, right? When they build their own relationships with other top performing ops people, they're creating a network of people who they can trust and share best practices and collaborate and challenge each other, right? And refer business. So they're creating their own referral network, right? So how you can empower your admin is on here twice. Embarrassing. Okay, so when you invest in your admin's career development, it's not just about their success. It is about creating a partnership that elevates your entire business. Confident, capable admin is not just a team member. They are a leader who helps drive results, build relationships, and keep your business moving forward. So if you have an admin, what is one thing that they are doing really, really, really well that you haven't celebrated yet? And how are you going to recognize their contribution this week? Put it in the chat.
I want to give a shout out to my virtual assistant, amazing admin marketer extraordinaire, Anna, on the call. You want to talk about just showing up and looking pretty? Anna puts together all the marketing for this, all the beautiful graphics. Anna had the music going. So shout out to Anna. I just get to show up, lead, MC, and then Anna's going to do all the replay marketing. So whoop, whoop. I'll give some major props right now.
Good job, Anna.
Thank you.
Okay, That's all I've got.
Ooh, questions.
Any questions?
Yeah. Well, before we get to the questions, as Lauren has alluded to, she's got a community that you can join. So if you've got an admin and you're lost in the sauce on how to get training, help them develop their skills so that they could level up and fulfill and implement your vision. Her community is where you want to go. So scan the QR code. So questions, let's post some questions and then I'm going to wrap us up. I'm going to land this plane today. Let's see here.
When I'm like behind,
I will ask questions if nobody wants to ask questions.
One of the questions that was in the chat that didn't get answered was, where do you find your DOO? I think specifically she was asking Brittany, but could go to everybody.
Brittany, where did you find your DOO? Let's go there and then we'll open it up to Lauren.
So I actually found her whenever I had joined a team. She was an admin and we became like really good friends outside of the team. So whenever I left said team, there were two people that were in that world or in my world at that time that I said, if there was anybody that I could have, I want these two people. And 2 years later, I got a call from both of those people. So and she was one of them. So that's where she came from. She was in my world as a friend from past life. So
yeah. I can tell Jessica's story. So Jessica is the DOO on Tulio Pena's team. Jessica, I'm just going to tell your story for you unless you want to unmute yourself and tell your own story. But Jessica was
I need to remember my favorite part.
Oh, okay. Well, go ahead. Tell the story. How you found Tulio and how Tulio found you.
So I am a past client. He sold us our house 3 years later when we relocated because my husband is military. He sold our house and sitting at the listing appointment, I'm a high B, he is a high I. So he's all about, are you happy? How are we going to market this? What's going to go on? I'm like, is the number right? Can I just sign on the line? And I had never been in my house when it had been sold. It had always been vacant. It had always been out of state. And so the very first thing I asked him was like, what do I need to do for listing photos? And he goes, I don't have a sheet. I'll send you a sheet. He sent me a sheet. I sent him back with 3 grammatical errors, put branding on it, made it a PDF, reorganized it and said, here, this looks better. And he goes, you want a job? And I said, are you playing or are you serious? He goes, you're serious. And the day I walked into title and signed on the dotted line was the day I walked into the office and met the team. And I literally started my first day as I drove out of my driveway, and I have been remote for 4 years and we've been rocking it ever since. But yeah, he's like, I need a system. You're a walking, talking system. And I'm like, yep, that's me. So
I love that story. Never.
Jess, you are a walking, talking system. Jess has a huge cup like this that's just an Excel spreadsheet
yes.
layout.
Yes. Don't underestimate your database and past clients. I can't tell you how many folks I coach, they find their first admin because they were a past client, just like Jess's story.
Yeah, half of our team agents are past clients. Like that database is gold.
Yep. I see him walking on his treadmill at the James Shaw show. That's Tulio. Yep. Okay, Renee's got a question. How do you handle setting expectations for licensed assistants with sending referrals? They could do it on their own, but what are the expectations for splits?
I won't lie. This is something I'm trying to navigate with someone right now. I don't actually have an answer for it. So if anyone else wants to.
I have this now. It's going to be very specific as to how your contracts read when you bring them on. In our contract, it does state that any referrals that come in, they don't get the referral fee for it. However, what I do is with my licensed assistant, she is paid a percent of transactions versus a flat rate. So I do give her that percent out of that referral fee. So she's able to get some sort of compensation for it, but she's not getting the full referral fee because in our contract, it states that she can't.
That's helpful.
That was how it was structured on my team as well. So if you were on the team, we ran the production through the team. So I think, Renee, it's based on the culture that you set for your business and how you want to manage, the culture of the team, really. Other questions? Let's see here. You're welcome.
I'm going to throw one out, Lauren, because I get this question all the time when people find out that I'm in systems. If you have nothing, what's the first thing that you'd tackle? What's the first system you'd put into place to make sure is there? What's the most important thing if you have nothing?
If you have nothing, making sure that you have your past clients and SOI written down somewhere, and B, knowing what is bringing you the most ROI. So getting your financials together. We just went through this on our own team here. Majority of our leads are referral, past client, all of that. But so like, riddle me why I thought it was a good idea to go spend a lot of money in a marketing company to, do a bunch of social media stuff. Like, what? Why did I do that?
What did Lindsay tell you when
Lindsay told me
this?
Lindsay literally said, probably not the best idea. And I was like, I'll prove you wrong. No, I didn't. I didn't prove her wrong. Actually, I think you said something along the lines of, oh, okay.
I think my words were, how is the ROI for you with that spend?
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
It wasn't great.
Yeah.
In the hole. So figuring out where your best lead source is so that you can pour into that.
Yeah.
Kelsey, may I share your 98%? You
Sure.
do it. You do it because it's so impressive. I won't take it away from you.
Yeah, so we are 98% referral based. So the first thing I was told to do when I joined was call up my database and get more referrals. So to Lauren's point, if it's working, keep it working.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Don't always have to reinvent the wheel.
Lauren and friends, I want to end us on time because I know everybody's time is super valuable. So I want to thank Lauren so much for coming today. Lauren, always a pleasure. And as Lauren mentioned, she's got her community, but I'm also community building. And if you're a rainmaker and looking for a way to get into a community and connect with other lead agents, I've got the community for you. I'm going to be launching that here in the next couple of weeks. So scan this QR code to be on the Forward Momentum Community membership launch campaign if it's something that you're interested in doing. Because I think Lauren has alluded to it. I've talked a little bit about it. You want to make sure that you're in a community of like-minded professionals to push you forward, to be questioning what you're doing so that you run a highly profitable business. And these masterminds are just one way of doing that. So I want to thank everybody so much for your time today. We're going to have another guest speaker, the fabulous Tulio Pena. We've talked about him a little bit on today's call, but Tulio is going to be talking about database. He's going to be giving us, as Jess can allude to, Tulio's got a touch plan that touches his clients up to 200 times a year. And he's going to be bringing that touch plan to next month's mastermind, which is the first Thursday of every month. So make sure that on the recap email, you're signing up for the next mastermind because that is going to be coming in hot and heavy. We're here to provide value. Can't wait to see you next month. Lauren, thank you so much.
Thank you, Lindsay.
All right, friends, see you next month.
Bye.